Good morning and welcome to Alva's Tech Space. The space where Alva's Tech will show you how to do home repairs and especially the electrical patent. Some other small, curious thing. What we can do with household items and tutorials. Among other things and well. In this video we're going to see a type of breakdown that occurs when the switch that activates the drill switch. This switch is proportional to the pulse. Depending on the pulse, that's how the drill speed will be, but this time that proportional switch has been damaged. On this switch we're going to see that the failures is actually several of the possible failures. But first let's see how we can detect that fault in the switch of an ordinary drill. And for that purpose, there are several ways to do it. But an indicator, or what it gives us, an indication that the switch may be faulty. It's that when you turn it on, it doesn't rotate. The drill won't turn on. Then that's an indication that the switch could be faulty too. The power cable might be faulty and the motor brushes part could also be faulty, or the part of the coils of induced or armatures. Windings may be burned out or some connection on internal may have opened, but in this case, let's see how to identify when the switch is damaged. Well then, let's get to it. Okay, we have this drill uncovered, let's go. First, we check the power cord. We can see the power cable. I have it here and we're going to check continuity, that is, that the cable is not interrupted in somewhere, and for that we will to put the tester on the lowest ohm scale. And we're going to try first with the tester or multimeter. In this case it could be analog multimeter. The only thing that matters here is that the needle deflects. Oh well, first we need to rule out the power cable, which is the obvious and easiest thing. So let's go. Disassemble without disconnecting any other cables. And like we see this switch, which are actually two switches in one. At the top we have one in charge making of the reversal of rotation, or commutator to make reverse rotation, reversing switch of the electrical motor. And at the bottom, we have the switch that actually, it's a triac with a potentiometer, dimmer circuit. Inside that, activates the motor proportionally. In this way, increase speed or vary the speed, based on the displacement in the trigger. Then well, so now what we're going to do to rule out a fault in this part, in the armatures. First we appreciate the overall appearance of the induced and the aspect of the stator coils. Then we see that aspect. Overall it's very good. It is in very good condition. The appearance of this motor is not burnt. We see that it's not burnt even. We can do the smell test, which is sniff around a bit here, and if it smells strongly of burning, then this is an indication perhaps the coil is damaged. But in this case it is in good condition. We also check the motor brushes, they are in good condition. So now we'll go to test continuity in the motor armature coils. If we remember the electrical motor diagram of a drill, which is a universal motor, let's see. For make the reversal of rotation it makes use of a two-way switch or toggle switch with 4 pins and 2 positions, which performs the function to reverse the term. So we already covered this in a previous video, where I showed you how to replace that switch easily and at low cost, and I'm going to leave it here somewhere in this video, on YouTube card or in the description. The identification of these cables is done very easily by supporting us in the schematic diagram. If we look, there are 2 cables. Those go to the motor brushes. For example, we located the 2 motor brushes here and we see a blue cable. This is the one we see here, it's coming here to the reversing switch. Now let's go to the other blue cable. Goes to the motor brush and then comes along to another reversing switch terminal to make things easier. In this case, the manufacturer has made the cables the same color as they go to the brushes, and in the same way we can see the 2 cables that go to the stator coils. In this case, here is one that goes to the stator coil. If we follow it, we'll see which actually reaches one of the ends of the stator coil. And we see that if we follow the other cable, it also is brown and goes to another one, the ends of the coils of the stator. Then in this case, the manufacturer has also made it easier for us and made them the same color. Now let's go to identify the motor's power supply lines or input lines, and this is easier because they are generally the most long ones that go from the motor part to the trigger type switch, which would basically be a dimmer. Again, both lines are blue. And now we need to know what they are. That the incoming lines are those that carry the motor power supply. After passing through the switch trigger, trimmer type trigger, then we're going to disconnect them from this pot briefly of the switch to check the state of this trigger, taking into account the location of the connections for. Then reconnect them. Okay, now the drill switch needs to be checked. An easy way to do this is to connect an ordinary light bulb like this that I have here with its 2 cables. We connected it on site where the power lines went. These 2 power lines that come out of the trigger trimmer, we're going to these 2 lines to be replaced by the light bulb. Logically, you'll use suitable light bulb depending on the location at which you're working. In this case, I am working at 120 volts AC. So in this case, these terminals are simply connected under pressure. These are inserted. Then with the help of some tweezers, it came out under pressure. We've already one line out. And the other connection, the same. It also came out under pressure. And these are the 2 AC lines, so drill motor power supply. Now let's check the switch. A line went at this point. And the other one was going here. Now we connected. As we see here in this case, I always use electrical protection, a thermal-magnetic type breaker like this, on my test board to do any electrical test, and it's highly recommended to have. This type of protection, we see that it does nothing, it doesn't shine. The lamp. We first activate the switch proportionally and then until you reach the end. In this case, the switch consists of two states. One which is when it functions as dimmer, until reaching the end where this behaves like a direct switch, but this is only when it reaches the end to transmit all the power to the motor. Then we have a dimmer-like behavior, and when it arrives at its maximum point, it transfers maximum power. And those two conditions aren't being met in this case. So this switch is completely broken. Normally the switch will be in good condition if we first observe that the light bulb gradually turns on, and finally it would shine with all its intensity upon reaching the end of the switch. But we see that this is not the case. This does not happen. Then with certainty, this drill switch is in bad condition to check if the power is reaching the switch. We simply move this cable, one of the light bulb cables, and we connect it to the other line. That arrives. And we see that, yes, there's power. The voltage is at the switch input. What is failing in this case is the internal circuit of the switch. So, the voltage is present, but when connecting it to the output, we get no response. Well friends, now we know it. We have identified the fault in the switch. Congratulations. The only thing left to do with the switch is to replace it with another one, that it is in good condition. Also, another thing we could do would be to try to repair it. Such dimmer switch sometimes it's possible, not always, but we'll see it in a future video, maybe. I left the link somewhere in this video, and as always, give it a like. Subscribe for more videos in Alice Tech Repairs. See you soon, bye.